Independence Day wasn't just another alien invasion, it was the day the world ended, and learn to cheer for it. But behind the fire and the flag, it was war disguised as wonder. From a secret project that leaked into a spoiled invasion, to a modern war of the worlds reborn in thunder and flame, and a message of unity so bold, some nations tried to silence it. These are 20 weird facts about Independence Day, and hidden inside the smoke and the spectacle, it was the miniature apocalypse that reshaped Hollywood. The cities burned on screen, and the industry rose from the ashes. Number 1. Before computers ruled destruction, Independence Day built it one explosion at a time. Every blast, from New York's skyline to the White House inferno, came from intricately engineered miniatures, wired with tiny charges and filmed in slow motion to mimic real catastrophe. Volker Engel and his team of model makers spent months perfecting each detonation, treating destruction like choreography. When the White House sequence was filmed, reporters were invited to witness it firsthand. One press of a button, and a perfect replica vanished in smoke and flame. The spectacle won the 1997 Oscar for Best Visual Effects, becoming the last great triumph of Hollywood's practical era. 20 years later, Engel returned for resurgence, this time armed with CGI instead of models. The irony was poetic. The film that blew up the world by hand also marked the moment Hollywood stopped doing it that way forever. Number 2. The Pentagon was ready to help. They loved the script, the fighter jets, the heroism, the chance to showcase American firepower on the big screen. But then they saw two words: Area 51. Officials demanded every reference to UFO and secret bases be deleted before granting cooperation. Roland Emmerich refused. Without those elements, there was no story. The military walked away overnight, taking its planes, advisors, and access with it. So the filmmakers improvised. They borrowed privately owned aircraft, painted them with makeshift insignias, and used model jets for the air battles. What could have been a logistical nightmare turned into creative liberation. The military might have stepped aside, but Independence Day didn't need official approval to conquer the sky. Number 3. Independence Day was filmed like a classified operation. The studio knew that one leaked photo of its alien ships or destruction scenes could ruin the element of surprise. So the production hid in plain sight under a fake name, Sky Project. Call sheets used code names, props were labeled with dummy logos, and crew members were kept in the dark about what they were actually making. Even the extras shooting military sequences had no idea they were part of an alien invasion movie. Every script page was numbered and watermarked. Anything left on set was destroyed at the end of the day. For months, secrecy held, until a plastic toy blew the whole mission. In early 1996, the merchandising partner Trendmasters released the official action figures and playsets ahead of schedule. They hit store shelves before Fox could even release the trailer. Kids tore open boxes and found the movie's biggest secret: the design of the aliens and their ships. Newspapers caught wind, and within days, the invasion had been spoiled, not by hackers or leaks, but by Toys R Us. Fox was furious, but the irony was almost poetic. A movie about humanity being caught off guard had its own ambush, courtesy of the toy aisle. When Independence Day finally premiered, audiences still gasped at the spectacle, but those who'd seen the figures first knew the truth. The invasion had already begun, one action figure at a time. Number 4. Before it was Independence Day, the movie nearly marched into theaters under a different name, Doomsday. Fox loved the apocalyptic ring, but the title Independence Day already belonged to Warner Brothers, and licensing it meant paying a small fortune. For Roland Emmerich and Dean Devlin, that wasn't an option. The name wasn't just marketing, it was the soul of their story. This wasn't a film about the end of the world. It was about fighting back on the 4th of July, so they decided to prove it. During production, they filmed the now iconic presidential speech early. Bill Pullman standing before his ragtag army, voice shaking with resolve as he declared,
"The 4th of July will no longer be known as an American holiday. Today, we celebrate our Independence Day."
Emmerich knew that line would be his weapon. He showed the footage to Fox executives in a private screening, letting the speech do the arguing for him. It worked. The scene hit with such force that the boardroom fell silent. The executives dropped Doomsday and paid to buy back the rights from Warner Brothers. Overnight, the film found its identity, not just as another disaster movie, but as a declaration. The War for Earth had its rallying cry, and the movie had its name. Number 5. Looking back, Independence Day feels packed with icons. Will Smith, Jeff Goldblum, Bill Pullman, Vivica A. Fox, Randy Quaid. But in 1995, not one of them was considered a true movie star. Fox executives even banned Roland Emmerich from hiring A-listers, terrified big names would inflate the budget or steal focus from the spectacle. Emmerich ignored the warning. He wanted real faces, people who felt like the world, not above it. That gamble paid off. Smith was still known mostly as a sitcom comedian. Goldblum was the eccentric scientist from Jurassic Park, and Pullman was better known for romantic comedies. differences. Yet together, they clicked, grounded, relatable, and human. The movie didn't use stars to sell its story, it created them. When the smoke cleared, Independence Day had turned a TV actor, a scientist, and a romantic lead into global heroes. Number 6. When Roland Emmerich pictured Earth's last defense, he didn't see a grizzled veteran, he saw Will Smith. At the time, Smith was best known for cracking jokes on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, not flying jets into alien motherships. To Fox executives, that was the problem. They worried audiences wouldn't take him seriously, that a sitcom star couldn't lead a $100 million blockbuster. Emmerich disagreed. He saw the spark, the charm, humor, and heart that could turn chaos into triumph. The studio pushed back, suggesting safer choices, but Emmerich refused to budge. He told them Smith was the future, and then fate stepped in. Just months before filming, Bad Boys exploded in theaters, and suddenly, Will Smith wasn't a gamble anymore. He was a revelation. The same charisma that had made him America's favorite wisecracking teen now made him the perfect hero to punch an alien and quip,
"Welcome to Earth."
By the 4th of July weekend, Smith wasn't just a star, he was a phenomenon. Independence Day cemented his transformation from TV prince to box office king, earning him a new nickname across Hollywood, Mr. July. One role, one line, and one right hook turned Will Smith into the man who made saving the world look cool. Number 7. Jeff Goldblum didn't just follow the script, he reshaped it as he went. Dean Devlin revealed that many of Goldblum's most memorable lines were improvised on set, especially in moments with Will Smith and Judd Hirsch. The quick-fire banter, the nervous muttering, the perfectly timed sarcasm, they all came from his instinct, not the page. His offbeat rhythm gave the film its pulse, turning dense tech talk into real human reactions. Even in the chaos of the alien ship, he and Smith riffed their way through panic, making the final mission feel alive and unpredictable. The movie may have been about saving the planet, but Goldblum made it sound like two friends arguing their way through the end of the world. Number 8. Some of Independence Day's funniest moments weren't scripted, they were survival. While filming near Utah's Great Salt Lake, Will Smith dragged an alien across the desert and suddenly shouted,
"And what the hell is that smell?"
It wasn't in the script. The stench was real. Thousands of rotting brine shrimp baking under the sun. His disgust was so genuine that Roland Emmerich left it in, one of the film's best unscripted lines born straight from misery. Meanwhile, veteran actor Robert Loggia suffered a different kind of misunderstanding. When producer Dean Devlin told him to prepare by watching Airplane, Loggia thought he meant the spoof, not the serious 1970 disaster film Airport. He showed up furious, thinking he'd been tricked into a comedy. The mix-up smoothed over quickly, but between the smell and the confusion, Independence Day was already a battlefield before the aliens even arrived. Number 9. Despite its massive air battles, not a single real fighter jet flew for the camera. Every FA-18 bomber and aerial chase was built from miniatures or crafted with digital effects. The film's model department built dozens of perfectly scaled jets and blew them apart one by one, capturing each explosion at high speed for weight and realism. Only the crop duster flown by Randy Quaid's character was real. Every other aircraft you see was smoke, scale, and cinematic sleight of hand. The result was seamless. When the skies erupted with squadrons and alien ships, audiences swore they were seeing the real Air Force in action. In truth, it was all handcrafted illusion. The last great dogfight filmed with models before CGI took control of the skies. Number 10. The spark that ignited Independence Day didn't come from a studio meeting. It came mid-flight. During a press tour for Stargate, a reporter asked Roland Emmerich if he believed in aliens. He laughed and said, "Of course I do." Then, somewhere above the clouds, his imagination took off. He pictured colossal ships blotting out skylines, cities swallowed by shadows, and humanity staring up at a sky it no longer owned. By the time the plane landed, the invasion had already begun, at least in his head. He and producer Dean Devlin locked themselves in a hotel room and wrote furiously for 30 straight days, barely sleeping. Their pitch to Fox came the next morning. One script, one vision, one promise. An alien invasion story that would unite the world instead of dividing it. The executives didn't hesitate. Within 24 hours, Independence Day was greenlit. It was a rare Hollywood miracle. One flight, 1 month, one meeting, and the biggest sci-fi spectacle of the decade was cleared for takeoff. In a town where movies can take years to crawl into existence, this one arrived like the ships in its opening scene, sudden, unstoppable, and larger than life. Number 11. President Whitmore's rallying cry wasn't born in Hollywood boardrooms. It was born on the battlefield of literature. Roland Emmerich and Dean Devlin modeled the moment after Shakespeare's Henry V. 5th, where a king inspires his outnumbered soldiers before the Battle of Agincourt. That same rhythm, pride, fear, defiance, pulsed through Bill Pullman's delivery. Even White House speechwriter Michael Waldman joked, they basically took Henry V and rewrote it. Shakespeare wasn't gonna sue. The irony? That legendary moment almost didn't exist. Devlin dashed off the speech in 5 minutes just as a placeholder. But when Pullman stepped in front of the crowd, something electric happened. His voice cracked with emotion, extras began to cheer for real, and the set fell silent after the final line. No one dared call cut. It became the emotional spine of the entire film, a fable of unity, courage, and rebellion wrapped in Shakespearean thunder. Centuries after the bard wrote of kings and conquest, his words still rallied an army, only this time against aliens instead of France. Number 12. Roland Emmerich may have orchestrated the apocalypse, but he's the first to admit it's built on coincidences. Scientists who meet by chance, miraculous timing, an alien mothership somehow hacked by a human laptop. The movie bends every rule of logic. Critics called it absurd. Emmerich called it a fable. To him, Independence Day was never science fiction. It was mythology dressed in modern armor. The world needed a miracle, so it got one. And that's why audiences forgave the impossibilities. It wasn't about how it happened. It was about how it felt. Humanity's victory didn't come from realism. It came from belief. Number 13. When Mars Attacks hit theaters months later, everyone assumed Tim Burton was spoofing Independence Day. 2 alien invasions in 1 year, one solemn, one ridiculous. It seemed like rivalry by design. But Burton's project actually began first, inspired by a cult trading card series from the 1960s. The real race started at Fox. Terrified audiences might confuse the two. The studio rushed Independence Day through post-production to beat Mars Attacks to theaters. The gamble paid off. Emmerich's blockbuster arrived first, conquered the box office, and defined the decade's alien craze. By the time Burton's Martians landed, Earth had already chosen its champion. One film saved the world. The other got vaporized. Number 14. The ending of Independence Day was a modern remix of one of sci-fi's oldest ideas. In H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds, Martians were wiped out by bacteria, the smallest enemy imaginable. A century later, Roland Emmerich flipped that idea for the digital age. His invaders didn't fall to germs, but to a computer virus. Humanity's salvation wasn't in blood, it was in code. Fans questioned how Jeff Goldblum's character could hack alien tech so easily, until writer Dean Devlin revealed the hidden logic years later. The alien systems ran on binary, ones and zeros, just like Earth's. Goldblum simply reversed their own language against them. A deleted scene even hinted that human computers were reverse engineered from alien technology recovered at Area 51. The irony was poetic. Humanity survived by infecting its invaders. 9 years later, Steven Spielberg revisited the original story in his 2005 War of the Worlds, bringing it full circle. From germs to code, the message endured. No empire, no matter how advanced, can outsmart nature or human ingenuity. Number 15. When Independence Day landed in theaters, critics didn't know what to make of it. Some called it a triumph of spectacle, a summer movie that made audiences cheer and theaters shake. Others dismissed it as empty fireworks, a disaster film wrapped in patriotic noise. Roger Ebert gave it 3 stars but laughed at its absurdity, calling it cheerfully preposterous. The New York Times called it loud, dumb fun, while Variety praised it as the kind of movie that reminds you why popcorn exists. But as the debate raged, audiences made the verdict clear. The film stormed past expectations, grossing over $817 million worldwide, second only to Jurassic Park that decade. Families, teens, and even skeptics lined up to see cities burn and the world fight back. Critics might have split like the sky, but the box office spoke in thunder. In the end, Independence Day didn't need universal acclaim to become universal. It was a shared moment, awe, laughter, and disbelief, proving that sometimes spectacle alone can unite the planet, even as the reviews fall apart. Number 16. Not every country was ready for Independence Day's message of unity. When the film reached Lebanon, government censors objected to one thing: not the explosions, not the aliens, but the idea of peace. They demanded the removal of scenes showing Israelis and Arabs fighting side by side, and Judd Hirsch's brief Hebrew prayer was cut entirely. The Washington Post later reported that officials feared those moments would stir regional tension. The irony ran deep. A movie about the world uniting against an alien threat had been deemed too hopeful for Earth itself. In the US, audiences stood and cheered when humanity finally fought together. In Beirut, the same ideal was seen as dangerous. What had been filmed as a celebration of global unity became, in one corner of the world, a quiet act of defiance. It's one of the strangest legacies in blockbuster history. A story meant to unite humanity ended up revealing just how divided it still was. Because sometimes the hardest thing to believe in isn't aliens, it's us. Number 17. Some movies find a date. Independence Day claimed a holiday. Every summer since 1990 1996, it's returned to TV like clockwork, fireworks in orbit, speeches echoing through living rooms, and Will Smith punching an alien before most people fire up their grills. Over time, it stopped being just a movie and became a ritual. Christmas has Home Alone. Halloween has Halloween. But the 4th of July belongs to this film. No founding fathers, no muskets, no parchment, just humanity's fight to stay free. In a country built on rebellion, Independence Day became the new mythology. A story about the day Earth came together, told on the day America celebrates its independence. Number 18. Long after the mothership exploded, the war for Earth kept raging, just not on screen. When Independence Day conquered the box office, fans demanded more. But Roland Emmerich refused to rush a sequel. Instead, the universe expanded across books and comics, each one filling the silence between invasions. Titan Books launched a series that dug deep into the mythology. The Silent Zone explored Area 51's secret past. War in the Desert followed soldiers fighting alien remnants, and Crucible bridged the years leading to Resurgence. Meanwhile, Marvel joined the fight with a 1996 comic miniseries that turned the film's spectacle into ink and fire. Artists recreated the White House blast panel by panel, giving the invasion a graphic grandeur the big screen couldn't contain. Fans devoured it all, hungry for more of the world that had united humanity, even if only in fiction. By the time Resurgence finally arrived 2 decades later, the mythology had already grown into legend. These novels and comics kept the resistance alive, a paper battlefield where humanity's story never really ended. Because in the world of Independence Day, survival wasn't just a movie, it became a saga written between the stars. Number 19. In a movie about alien war, no one expected the biggest craze to come from a wedding ring. When Captain Hiller proposes to Jasmine, the camera lingers on a band etched with 2 dolphins, symbols of love, loyalty, and survival. That tiny detail sparked a real-world frenzy. Jewelers across America were flooded with requests for the Independence Day ring, unaware the design wasn't licensed for sale. The company that crafted the prop missed their moment, but Vivica A. Fox didn't. The producers let her keep the original, a small silver memento from the day humanity nearly ended. The irony still lingers. In a film about saving the world, the truest symbol of hope wasn't the White House or the fighter jets. It was 2 dolphins, bound together, swimming through fire. Number 20. Hidden inside Independence Day's final explosion, when Russell Cassie rams his jet into the alien mothership, is a secret buried in the sound mix. As the ship erupts, audio engineers slipped in a warped sample from James Brown's I Got You, I Feel Good. It's that unmistakable wah, stretched and twisted into the roar of victory. It wasn't random, it was rhythm. The sound team wanted the climax to feel like triumph itself, a fusion of chaos and soul. And under the thunder of fire and metal, you can still hear it. A human scream of joy turned into a cosmic echo. The godfather of soul, hidden in humanity's greatest comeback. Bonus fact: when Independence Day hit theaters in July 1996, it felt like pure sci-fi, until life started imitating art. Just weeks later, NASA announced evidence of possible microscopic life inside a Martian meteorite. President Bill Clinton addressed the nation on live TV, declaring it a discovery that speaks to the possibility we are not alone.
Rock number 84001. It speaks of the possibility of life.
For one surreal summer, the world believed it. Theaters still showing the movie were suddenly filled with whispers. What if it's real? News anchors debated it. Scientists argued over the data, and the lines between fiction and reality blurred. The discovery was later disproven, but for a brief electric moment, Independence Day didn't just conquer the box office. It rewired the imagination of an entire planet. When the skies cleared and the fires died down, Independence Day left something rare behind. Not fear, but faith. It reminded audiences that even in chaos, unity can roar louder than destruction. For one summer, the whole world looked up at the same screen, cheering for the same victory. Nearly 30 years later, its explosions may look dated, but its heart hasn't aged a day. If this film still makes you cheer, or gives you chills when that speech begins, drop a comment. Tell us what cinematic legend we should defend next. Because Independence Day was never just about aliens. It was about the fragile miracle of survival, and the belief that when the world ends, humanity will still find a way to stand together and fight back.